Two things we are going to talk about in today's talk. One is about the onset of bombing and destruction of some of the Hamas hideouts by the Israeli Defense Force, and the other is the details of the $105 billion package that Biden has put together. Slowly this number is creeping up. As you can see, it was 100 to start with, now it's at 105. What is in that? We're going to take a quick look at that. And by the way, this is what the Democrats want. The Republicans are only approving funding for Israel. In other words, the Republicans do not want to give even a dime to Ukraine. So how this is going to play out, only time will tell. But it is my duty to tell you what is in this 100 billion package. Here we go. First off, 50 Hamas have been eliminated in Jabalia, northern Gaza, claims Israel. Because this is important, because why claim by Israeli Defense Force has to be shown here, because the other side is saying that a lot of people have been killed, innocent civilians have been killed, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So what the Israeli Defense Force had said is that this is the area that the attack took place, and this was a military compound used for training and execution of terror activities located in western Jabalia, dated today. So today's date, right? So if you look at the area itself, you can see that there is a water pumping station, there's a school, there's a medical clinic, there's a mosque, there are two mosques as a matter of fact. But if you look a little bit closer, and I hope that you guys can see it, if you look a little bit closer, you can use your fingers to pinch the video bigger so you can see it clearly if you are watching this on a smartphone. So you can see that there is an underground tunnel shaft, intelligence center, another underground, there are lots of tunnel shaft, rocket launch pad, couple of them, and then there is a weapon production facility, and there's also a battalion command center. This is the portion that Israel claims that they have taken out, because you can see them mark it with red. So that is the portion that they have taken out. They have not touched any of the other things, such as the school or the mosques or the medical clinic. So this debate is going to go back and forth. Every time there's an attack and they lose some soldiers, they'll come back and say that innocent civilians have been killed and so on and so forth. So what is the long-term plan for this? This is where things get really interesting. And I'm going to show you Biden's $105 billion funding request. This is what he has asked of Congress. Remember, the Congress has to approve any kind of funding. You also know that it is a Republican-controlled Congress. There's a new speaker, Mike Johnson. He might want to make a deal with President Biden, or he might want to stick it out and say, look, I'm only signing up for the portion that is supposed to go to Israel. So which one is going to win is a matter of time. We can take a look at it in the days and weeks to come. So what exactly are the details into this $105 billion program? He wants to give $61.4 billion to Ukraine. I'm going to give you details of each of these funding efforts. In other words, a breakdown of what that $61.4 billion means. Israel, $14.2 billion. Border security, this is United States, $13.6 billion. Humanitarian aid, $9.4 billion. This will probably go to Gaza and other places. And in the Indo-Pacific, this is for Taiwan, and it is not clear what else. So here are the details, and we'll take a look at one by one. Biden believes that American aid to crises overseas, such as Ukraine and Israel, is critical to ensuring U.S. national security. He outlined what the U.S. should provide its allies with. So, $61.4 billion for Ukraine. The majority of that package would go to providing Ukraine with weapons and ammunition, economical operational assistance, intelligence support, military logistics, nuclear security programs, and refugee resettlement would be paid for by the rest. So this is two big pots. Think of it as two big pots: weapons and ammunition and economic and operational assistance. Parts of Ukraine are completely flattened by Russia. Nobody is paying attention to that part, how many Ukrainians have died, also how many children have died. The massacre that's supposed to have taken place in one or two places, 𝗣𝗬𝗫, I think, if I remember the name. So these things are horrible, what the Russians have done there also. Then the next one, $14.3 billion for Israel. The package would go almost entirely towards defense contracts and facilitating the transfer of weapons and ammunition to Israel. Remember, one of the weak points of the Iron Dome was that if 5,000 rockets were fired at it, it could not shoot all of them down. That's number one. What Israel might want to do is to somehow augment that, so that in case the Iron Dome has to be reloaded, in that gap time, something else needs to step in and make sure that the rockets are taken care of. Israel's ground-based laser air defense system would be covered. This is, I think, the Iron Beam or something similar to that US has. Package would also include precision-guided munitions, kits that turn regular bombs into precision weapons and artillery shells. So every step of the way, Israel is making sure that only the guilty are taken out. I can't emphasize this more. I mean, people will say, oh, you are always a pro-Israeli person. Look, all I'm seeing is an act of terror, and that act of terror has to be settled. Otherwise, people will be emboldened and these things will keep happening. This is the worst tragedy to have ever hit Israel, and it is going to fight back. These are not people who are going to just lie down. And the other side wants the complete elimination of Israel. Remember that. So, $13.6 billion for border security. This is closer home. The package would pay for more border patrol officers, immigration judges, shelters, and detention centers. This is something that I've been talking for a long time. 3.2 million illegals are in now. When are they going to get their date? And then they have to be deported. Will the US pay for somebody who's come from Timbuktu all the way back home? How is it going to be? On a plane, on a ship, or on a mule? Well, we have to wait and see how that's going to happen. Clearly, the message should have been sent clear to people like George Soros, who was enabling these people to come to the US border, giving them food, shelter, transportation free of cost. And this guy is a perverse mind. Fixing that would have solved a lot of the problems for Biden. If he goes on to loot the 2024 election, it will be mainly because of unbridled illegal immigration, I'm telling you. $1 billion for battling fentanyl trafficking. It is, people are now suspecting how the French superstar Matthew Perry died. They are wondering if he was also, taking fentanyl. I mean, this is all, once somebody dies at the age of 54, gossip is going to take over, all sorts of speculations will arise. One of them is this. 2 Republican demands are not included in this. Funding for a border wall and changing the way asylum seekers are accepted. This is, again, going back to the DACA program that the Trump administration stopped. These people, they'll never allow that. So, see, here is where the problem comes. The Republicans are going to demand some things, and if Biden administration does not give that, then there is no deal. $9.15 billion for humanitarian aid. These funds include assistance for Palestinian, Israeli, and Ukrainian civilians who felt the impact of war. The amount of assistance was not disclosed by the White House. The breakdown is not given of this $9.15 billion. Again, $7.4 billion for Taiwan, Indo-Pacific region. The funds include military financing for Taiwan, and it are meant to help countering the influence of China. The US submarine construction would receive over $3 billion, while development assistance would receive $2 billion. Another $2 billion will be going towards foreign military financing, though it is not clear if it will be for Taiwan or for other countries around. I can think of Philippines, for example. So this brings us to the end of this details. Like I said, the Republicans are starting at a very, very small number, and this back and forth will happen over the next few days. A new speaker has come in. He needs to, walk that delicate walk. And at the same time, we have to make sure that Israel is protected. Remember that it was US who made sure that the country, the concept, the context called Israel was formed in 1947. You have to go back in history and to look at how the US worked hard to make sure that the resolution for creation of Israel would pass. November 29th, 1947, 2 days after Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.